Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jaya Koro More Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jaya Koro More Toma Bina Ke Doyalu Jagata Samsare Toma Bina Ke Doyalu Jagata Samsare Toma Bina Ke Doyalu Jagata Samsare Patita Pavana Hetu Tavaya Bhata Patita Pavana Hetu Tavavata Mosamapatita Prabhu Napaiveara Mosamapatita Prabhu Napaiveara Ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripa Bolo Kana Koro Ami Bodo Duki Jaya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai Jaya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai Tavakti Pavale Pai Chaitanya Nitai. Ha ha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunata Ha ha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunata Pata Juga Sijivaha Prabhu Lokanata Jaya Koro Siyacharya Prabhu Srinivasa Siyacharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamadas Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jaya Koro More Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jaya Koro More Toma Bina Ke Doyalu Jagata Samsare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Asotara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai New Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jainatai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I have a phone, I can try from there. Reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, titled The 61 Explanations of the Atmaram verse. Today we're starting from text 254. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. E Papa Yaya Mora Ke Mana Upaye Nishtara Karaha More Podan Tomar Paye. Starting from 254, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, starting from 254. That's what I was told. Is that okay?
Without commentary, those verses. Okay. No, we had actually 254 and 255 last time.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll read a number of verses, so we'll just start there.
So we have 256 on the go.
Oh, we do. Okay, sorry. Let's read that then.
You want to start reading here?
You can hear me butcher the Bengali for another verse. Vyada kahe ye kaha seta kariba narada kahe tanuka bangatabe se kahiba. Should we repeat it? Do we do that? Okay. Vadya kahe ye kaha seta kariba. Vyada kahe ye kaha seta kariba. Narada kahe danuka banga tabe se kahiba. What do you think? I feel like it has a little few more syllables to make that tune. Yes, do it again. Sure. Sundar Jagannath, do that again. Narada kahe danuka vanga tave se kahiva. That sounded pretty good. Do that again.
Narada
Narada kaheda tave se kahiva. Vyada kaheye kaha se takariba. Vyada kaheye kaha se takariba. Now you do the second line.
Narada kahe danuka banga tave se kahiba.
Narada kahe danuka banga tave se kahiba. Anyone else like to chant?
Yada kahe ye kaha se ta kariba.
Vyada kahe ye kaha se takariba.
Narada kahe danuka banga tave se kahiba.
Narada kahe danuka banga tave se kahiba. Vyada kahe ye kaha se takariba. Danuka bange tave se to kahiba. Vyada kahe. The hunter replied, Ye kaha. Whatever you say. Say takariba. That I shall do. Narada kahe. Narada Muni replied, Dhanuka banga. Break your bow. Tabe. Then. Say kahiba. I shall speak to you. Translation. The hunter then said, My dear sir, whatever you say, I shall do. Narada immediately ordered him, First of all, break your bow. Then I shall tell you what is to be done. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This is the process of initiation. The disciple must vow that he will no longer commit sinful activity, namely illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. He promises to execute the order of the spiritual master. Then the spiritual master takes care of him and elevates him to spiritual emancipation. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulam Militam Jenam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Radha no Sri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this chapter is about the 61 explanations of the Atmaram verse, which is a verse spoken by one of the queens of Dwarka in the end of the 10th canto. And that verse is understood in so many varieties of ways according to different transcendentalists. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing so many explanations. Now in this section is about Narada Muni delivering the hunter. It's like a very cruel hunter, and while the mundane moralist might be satisfied just to judge and condemn such a person, Narada Muni had such a compassionate heart of a Vaishnav that he thought how to deliver that hunter. And so now the hunter has come to the point of surrendering to Narada Muni. My dear sir, whatever you say, I shall do. Prabhupada says this is the process of initiation. When we come to the point, okay, that's it. I'll surrender to higher authority. I'll no longer think that I know best. I'll surrender to the higher judgment of a spiritual master. So Narada Muni is saying, first thing is you have to break your bow, because that's what he was using to kill all the animals. After you do that, then I'll tell you what to do. It reminded me of the story of Sanatana Goswami and the touchstone. There was the follower of Lord Shiva. Shiva gave him the benediction. You should go to Sanatana Goswami. He will give you the highest thing. He will give you a touchstone which can, turn everything into gold. And so when he went to visit Sanatana Goswami was doing his bhajan. I heard you have a touchstone that can turn anything to gold. Yeah, it's in the garbage pile over there somewhere. If you can find it, you can have it. Really, it's in the garbage pile? He searched it, he found the touchstone, turning everything into gold. And it was like, imagine what a life-changing asset something like that would be. And so, he tried it, it works. And then he thought, how did he keep this in the garbage? Like, the whole world wants this. Everybody wants something like this. Why was Sanatana Goswami so detached? He must have something better. So Sanatana Goswami said, I do have something better. Can you tell me about it? Sure. But before I tell you about it, first you're going to take that touchstone and you're going to throw it into the Yamuna. What? This is so valuable. No, first you're going to have to give that up. And he did that. And then Sanatana Goswami initiated him into the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, which is infinitely better. A touchstone that can turn everything to gold is just like a piece of garbage by comparison to the Hare Krishna mantra. So what an act of surrender to be able to throw away the touchstone. So Murari the hunter, first thing is to break your bow. Wait, but how am I going to eat? How am I going to live? How am I going to maintain myself? This is my whole life. This is my bow. That's how I do everything. But as a sincere disciple, okay, first I will break the bow. The disciple must vow that he will no longer commit sinful activity, namely illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. What? How am I going to give those things up? That's like, what fun is there going to be in life? What am I going to eat if I can't eat meat? He promises to execute the order of the spiritual master. Then the spiritual master takes care of him and elevates him to spiritual emancipation. Then the next verse. Vyadakahe dhanuka bangile vartiba kemane narada kahe ame anadiba prate dine. The hunter replied, "If I break my bow, how shall I maintain myself?" Narada Muni replied, "Do not worry. I shall supply all your food every day." Purport: the source of our income is not actually the source of our maintenance. Every living being, from the great Brahma down to an insignificant ant, is being maintained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. The one Supreme Being, Krishna, maintains everyone. Our so-called source of income is our own choice only. If I wish to be a hunter, it will appear that hunting is the source of my maintenance. If I become a Brahmin and completely depend on Krishna, I do not conduct a business, but nevertheless my maintenance is supplied by Krishna. The hunter was disturbed about breaking his bow because he was worried about his income. Narada Muni assured the hunter because he knew that the hunter was not being maintained by the bow but by Krishna. Being the agent of Krishna, Narada Muni knew very well that the hunter would not suffer by breaking the bow. There was no doubt that Krishna would supply him food. So somehow God is maintaining the ants that can just eat tiny crumbs of food, and he's maintaining the elephants that are, in one meal can consume so many kgs of food, and somehow everybody's getting their maintenance, and we may think that we're the doer, but we should know that everything's being supplied by Krishna. What a powerful comment. The source of our income is not actually the source of our maintenance, because the source is actually Krishna. What a profound truth to meditate on and try to reconcile ourselves with. I'm just speaking to myself. I have to think about this all the time because I'm thinking, if how will I maintain? How will I maintain? I remember a comment from Srila Prabhupada where he talks about how you can understand in which social class you belong. And he says the Brahmin is completely surrendered to Krishna. The Brahmin knows that everything is coming by Krishna's grace. Krishna is my maintainer. The Kshatriya has a little doubt. How will I be maintained? I have to, The Vaishya, he has more doubt. And the Shudra's in full anxiety. How am I going to get money? How am I be maintained? Actually, we were studying Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Accepting that the Lord is one's maintainer is one of the 6 items of surrender. We were looking at this song, Sarvasva Tomar Charane. I'll just read the translation. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur elaborating on the principles of Sharanagati. He says like this: now that I have surrendered all that I possess unto your lotus feet, I throw myself down before your house. You are the master of the house. Kindly consider me your own dog. Anybody know this song? Yeah. Yeah. So now that I have surrendered all that like he says, manasa deho geho, my mind, body, my family, everything that I think that is mine, I have surrendered it to your lotus feet. I do so badly remembering things on the Vyasa-san. Like in sickness, in health, in life, or at death. Yeah, you remember the translation?
In wealth or in poverty, Jivane in life or in death. I take shelter of your lotus feet, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. Okay, thank God. In good fortune or in bad, in life or at death, all my difficulties have disappeared by taking shelter of those feet. Slay me or protect me as you wish, for you are the master of your eternal servant. This is Atmanivedana, full surrender. So after that conception of full surrender, there is, what is it? Goptritve Varna? Now that I have surrendered all that I possess unto your lotus feet, I throw myself down before your house. You are the master of the house. Kindly consider me your own dog. Chaining me nearby, you will maintain me, and I shall lie at your doorstep. I will not allow your enemies to enter, but will keep them outside the bounds of the surrounding moat. Whatever food remnants your devotees leave behind after honoring your prasad will be my daily sustenance. I will feast on those remnants in great bliss. While sitting up or lying down, I will constantly meditate on your lotus feet. Whenever you call, I will immediately run to you and dance in rapture. I will never think for my own nourishment, and will remain absorbed in ever-cherishing love for my master. Bhaktivinoda now accepts you as his only maintainer. So what a meditation. Bhaktivinoda is giving up all of my house, my family. It all belongs to the Lord. And then the meditation is, I'm just like a dog in your house. Dog means you have to maintain the dog, and the dog will, do whatever service, give you companionship. And so he's thinking like that. I'm not my own maintainer. It's my master is maintaining me. That's the consciousness. So the hunter is bewildered about that. How am I going to maintain? Narada Muni says, I'll give you everything. Just be peaceful about that. Dhanuka Bhangi Vyada Tanra Charane Padila Tare Utana Narada Upadesha Kaila. Being thus assured by the great sage Narada Muni, the hunter broke his bow, immediately fell down at the saint's lotus feet and fully surrendered. After this, Narada Muni raised him with his hand and gave him instructions for spiritual advancement. This is the process of initiation. The disciple must surrender to the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna. The spiritual master, being in the disciplic succession stemming from Narada Muni, is in the same category with Narada Muni. A person can be relieved from his sinful activity if he surrenders to the lotus feet of a person who actually represents Narada Muni. Narada Muni gave instructions to the hunter after the hunter surrendered. So like Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja, mam ekam sharanam braja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha yishyami ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender to me. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So if we actually surrender, then we can be delivered from all kinds of sinful reactions. A person can be relieved from his sinful activity if he surrenders at the lotus feet of a person who actually represents Narada Muni. So it's contingent on our surrender to the right source. Not just a formality, but it has to come from the heart. Gare Giya Brahmane Deha Yata Achedana Eka Eka Vastrapadi Bahira Hauduijana. Narada Muni then advised the hunter, return home and distribute whatever riches you have to the pure Brahmins who know the absolute truth. After you have distributed all your riches to the Brahmins, you and your wife should leave home, each of you taking only one cloth to wear. Purport. This is the process of renunciation at the stage of Vanaprastha. After enjoying household life for some time, the husband and wife must leave home and distribute their riches to Brahmins and Vaishnavas. One can keep his wife as an assistant in the Vanaprastha stage. The idea is that the wife will assist the husband in spiritual advancement. Therefore, Narada Muni advised the hunter to adopt the Vanaprastha stage and leave home. It is not that a grihastha should live at home until he dies. Vanaprastha is preliminary to sannyas. In the Krishna consciousness movement, there are many young couples engaged in the Lord's service. Eventually, they are supposed to take Vanaprastha, and after the Vanaprastha stage, the husband may take sannyas in order to preach. The wife may then remain alone and serve the deity or engage in other activities within the Krishna consciousness movement. So, yeah, it's like, reminds me of Haridas Thakur delivering the prostitute. Okay, Jai, Sisi Gornitai, Sisi Jagannath Baladev, Subhadramai Ki Jai. Whatever her unideal, not very clean profession was, Haridas Thakur said, okay, now everything you collected by doing that, you should distribute to the Brahmins, to the Vaishnavas. She became very renounced, shaved her head, I think. She minimized her eating to something very, very extremely frugal, extremely austere, and she began chanting so much Harinam, like her guru, and became a great saint. So here, Narada Muni is advising to come to the Vanaprastha stage, distributing all his riches to the Brahmins. That's one of our principles in devotional service. Could someone remind me? Utsahan nishchaya daryat tat tat karma pravartanat sanga tyaga sato vrite sadbir bhaktir vinashati. Did I get that right? Prasidyati. Is there a nectar of instruction around?
Yes, nectar of instruction.
I know, but do we have a copy of that? Probably not, right? No, that's devotion. Okay. Anyway, it's our principle of devotional service that we should follow. Jana sangas chiloyam cha. No, tat tat karma pravartanat. Which? Read the translation. Anyway, while you're finding that, I'll just tell a story. One of my favorite devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement, he passed away some years ago during the COVID time. his name was, you found it? Okay, go ahead.
There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to regulated principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnok, Smaranam, hearing, chanting and remembering Krishna. 5. Abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas.
Right. Following the footsteps of the previous acharyas includes taking shelter of varna and ashram. And so somehow in this instance, Narada Muni wants his new disciple, the hunter, to be situated in the Vanaprastha ashram as somehow we all have to conform to the rules of some ashram or another, whether it's brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, etc., sannyas. Just living independently outside of the rules of any ashram is not our standard. So this he was a Prabhupada disciple, Bhubaneshwar Prabhu, lifelong brahmachari, and he was the Rajbhog cook at the Krishna Balaram Mandir for decades. I think since the mid '80s or so. The first Rajbhog or the first deity cook was Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu. His samadhi is there in the samadhi field. They didn't make samadhi for Bhubaneshwar Prabhu. I kind of feel maybe they could have. But he cooked the Rajbhog every day for decades. Amazing devotee. And he's so fixed, I would always go read to him in the evening. He was like, like Prabhupada said to read the Krishna book at night. So we read the Krishna book many times. We read so much devotional literature just because he would just like sit there and have people read to him. So I was one of the people that did that. And he told me such a powerful story one time. When he was a young man and he was new to the Krishna consciousness movement, his parents passed away and he got an inheritance. And it was something kind of substantial, some tens of thousands of dollars, which, 50 years ago plus was a little bit of money actually. It wasn't nothing. Like it is now. Sorry, but so he said the devotees at the temple said, they said you should give 50%, and Bhubaneshwar's answer was 50%. I'm not a grihastha. I should give 100%. So he said, I gave 100% to Prabhupada. And he said, since that time, I have never been in want for anything for the rest of my life. And it was so powerful that he said that. Like, I always, I saw that he was like actually a blessed person. Like, just whatever he needed, it wasn't difficult for him. He, there was one time he told me, we're going to go out on parikram, and somehow I didn't have any money. And I was like, oh no, how are we going to pay for the rickshaw? I felt so stupid. Why didn't I bring anything? And we walked out the room, and in like 10 steps, someone comes and, Hare Krishna Prabhu, and he said, hey, do you have a car? Yeah, sure. He said, okay, you're going to take us on parikram, and it was just like, it was so typical that just everything like worked. He said at one point, because he was American, he had to renew his visa, his Indian visa. And so he went to Australia. And he said, I didn't have to take one paisa from the temple. By myself, I was able to arrange donation. And he always needed, there are a few items that he always needed from the West for the deity department, like blue tack and saffron and, maybe some needles, pins. He always had like a list of different things. So anyway, he went for the visa. It took him like a tiny fraction of the time to get a long visa. He thought it would take a couple of weeks. It took a couple of days. And he said at one point, he was just in the temple, he said at one point someone gave him a donation and it was something like $80, and then he said, then I went to the supermarket and he went to the market to buy whatever he needed, and it was all for the deities. And he said, I didn't even calculate anything, but then when they rung it up, it was like $79.54. It was like, wow. It was like exactly Krishna provided. So, yeah, it can be like that. Anyway, I think we're already at time. Any comments, any questions, any reflections on anything?
You said that surrender has to come from the heart. But what if surrender is not coming from the heart? Because when we try to surrender artificially, it's not surrender. And then you just feel frustrated.
Wow.
Yeah, because I thought I surrendered, but then you just after some time you just realize, no, I'm not a surrendered soul, and I'm a hypocrite. I feel like a hypocrite. I'm cheating my guru. I'm cheating myself. What to do in this case? If it's not just coming like from my heart, I cannot force myself. But for like bit by bit, small steps only. But yeah, what to do if it's not coming? But the desire to.
I think I have the same problem. Yeah, we can review what are the principles of Sharanagati. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has that songbook. Even I read a comment from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. What are the topics to be discussed in the Gaudiya Math? And he said we should discuss Sharanagati, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songbook Sharanagati, and maybe he said Narottam Das Thakur's Prarthana. This is the topic of our discussion. This is because we always have to nurture that and strengthen that. And Guru Mukha Padma Vaikya Sitete Koriya Aikya. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from my spiritual master. Somehow that's daily, even moment to moment, yagya. Sharanagati will not come naturally. As long as we have some anarthas, there's going to be some fault in our Sharanagati. And so we have to cultivate that. Krishna consciousness is a type of cultivation. And so, let's hear from our spiritual master, from our Acharya Parampara. What is Sharanagati? Why should we be surrendered? What is the value of surrender? How can I surrender? What's the mentality of surrender? Look at this song from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, even having that image, surrendering to the Lord. I'm just like a dog and this is your house. My house he calls your house. I'm just like your dog. You'll chain me there, then I'll sit on the front porch and I'll bark when the enemies come. That's our struggle, that's our cultivation. Anything else? Any thoughts, any comments?
If you are standing on the crossroad and you think to surrender 100%, but after understand that 100% is too much, he was brahmachari, so that's why he surrendered 100%, right? So it's like okay to surrender 50%, or it's not fair. And because you feel from the heart that Krishna will provide everything for you, but you doubt, like you said, that's gradation.
Nice. There's Wait, so what's the question? So you have a doubt? I mean, yeah, there's different rules for different ashrams. And, the Tyagis, like the brahmacharis, the sannyasis, maybe the vanaprasts, they may follow a different standard. Grihastha they have their standard. Like the example actually of the Grihastha is, this was the example of a vanaprast. And Rupa Goswami is the example of renouncing the household life. When he gives up, he kept 25% for the emergencies and, charity. I forgot exactly how did it go. But he kept... Uh-huh. He gave to his family? Is that what it was? I don't think it was like that.
That emergency was then to deliver his brother who was in prison.
Yes, that sounds right. Anyway, the example of the Grihastha is Shuklambar Brahmachari, who made his livelihood selling banana leaf plates and who was dirt poor. So if even he can give, I mean, even giving 50%, that's huge. Who can do that? Do you know any Grihastha that does that? Does you know anybody that does that? 50% of your income. That's the standard. In the 80s and 90s, you knew devotees. I once asked my guru about that. Do you know anybody that gives 50%? And he knew one taxi driver that had like a couple of kids, and he gave 50%. But he had to think of everybody that he knew in Krishna consciousness. Yes, I know one person that can do that. But it's a very high standard. But those are the rules that make it an ashram. If you follow those rules, then you can say you are following the rules of the ashram. And if you're not, then there's some fault in your following. Sorry, what did you say?
Maybe I know many devotees who are giving more than 50% of their time and they're using everything in Krishna service, but maybe not that specifically to the temple.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of that. Some devotees using everything in Krishna.
Yeah, maybe people give a few percent. But actually, the rule is about income. Whatever money that's made, 50% should be given to the service of Krishna, to the Brahmins, to the Vaishnavas.
But I will also mention not just income and money, but also your time, your life.
Your life,
Like
yeah.
you are giving fully 100% of life, and then you think like, because you still have some desires in heart, yeah? And
Right.
will they, like after they are starting to move, like for example, I lived in ashram, and then everything is fine, but after you think like, will Krishna reciprocate? It's just less of belief, or what is this?
I know, but then when you look back, you see that actually he maintained. Do you feel that also?
Yes, but this example of your friend, he got 100% back because he believed, or it's just automatically?
I think Krishna reciprocated with his amazing surrender. And he was a fully surrendered person. He gave all his money, he gave all his life too. And there was at one point, my wife and I were looking for an apartment in Vrindavan, and, it's like such a struggle, like where do we live? Because, she had different things that she needed, and there's different things that I wanted, and just to find the right thing that really matches. And I was going to his room every night and reading to him, and I was just thinking like, he has a first-class room all to himself on the temple property. He's like, in other words, because one of the things is you want to be kind of close to the temple so that it's easy to come, it's like if you're a few kilometers away and you got to fight through the traffic, it's like not as ecstatic. If you could, but he had the room right on the temple, and I was thinking like, wow, like look how Krishna takes care of him. This is like the most prime real estate. Anyway, yeah, it's
The answer is
It's a-
he gave 108%.
he gave 100%. Yeah, I mean, I have this doubt all the time. I just had an experience. I don't want to like tell all the details of it, but you know, I was in full panic about maintenance. I, you know, put a huge debt on my credit card, and I was, and you know, and then after a couple of months, it was just amazing. It was like some miracle. Like Krishna just. It was like from one day to the next. Actually, just on we were living in New York, and it's actually really expensive. People say Switzerland's the most expensive. I'm not sure. I mean, when it comes to groceries and certain things, it's so expensive. I've lived in India for so long, I got spoiled by like a little bit. And so the expenses, they were just like so. I was in so much anxiety. And yeah, all this doubt I had. And it was literally like an hour before we were going to go to the airport to leave, you know, and my wife is in tension, I'm in tension. And it was like I got a phone call and it was just like, wow, you know, basically Krishna paid for all those things. It was just like a miracle. And I just said like, you know, Krishna is God. Like, you know, how is this even possible? And so somehow, you know, somehow we have a doubt. You know, I can look for my life. Somehow Krishna's he's maintained the whole time. You know, somehow the ants are getting what they need, and the elephants are getting what they need, and somehow. I'm in total anxiety, what's going to be the future? But if I honestly look up until now, somehow it's worked out. Somehow it's never that, you know, there's nothing to eat and there's not a place to sleep and there's nothing to wear. Somehow all those things are just, they've been there. And so that's my, you know, why should I be so faithless about this? What do you think?
108%.
Yeah.
Given to Krishna, and then
Prabhu?
So how do you deal with Prabhupada's, the way I understood the instruction, that kind of we still have to be materially responsible, and that like spiritual life is like needing two tracks, you know, material track and the spiritual track, in order for the spiritual train to be able to run.
Right.
For instance, he said that as a
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, I think that our philosophy is we have to do our duty according to our position in life. And so, you know, if we're a renunciate, that's one kind of duty. You know, if we're a fully surrendered person, that's one kind of duty. If we're like a householder, then we will naturally have an occupation, and we have a duty to do that occupation. If one is going to, you know, neglect one's religious duty, and, you know, whatever, watch TV on the couch and not do anything productive, and then think, why, you know, hey, Krishna, like what, you know, well, like your end of the bargain is you have to do your duty, and then have faith that somehow Krishna's going to provide. Not think that it's because of this, because of my work that like Prabhupada said. What did he say? That you shouldn't think that it's by your that you're maintained by the source of your income. What was that first line he said?
your source of training is not responsible.
Yeah, the source of our income is not actually the source of our maintenance. But if it's our duty to do that activity that's giving us an income, then that's our duty. It's, you know, but our principle is we're supposed to do our duty in a selfless, detached spirit, as a matter of, you know, this is my religious duty to do this. I'm not doing this to try to get some material gain. I'm doing my duty, and, you know, you can think Krishna will pay me. I heard Prabhupada said like that, if you preach, you know, how am I going to be maintained if I preach? If you preach, Krishna will pay you. Prabhupada said that. You know, and if you have a, if you have some kind of occupation, some kind of work, then okay, if I do this occupation and I do it properly, if I do it nicely, then one standard of consciousness is think then my boss will pay me, but a more Krishna conscious perspective is if I do my duty, if I do this work, then Krishna will pay me. What do you think? So I agree with you. You don't have to, being irresponsible, neglecting duty, that won't have an auspicious result. Doing one's duty, that's what we're being asked to do. Should we leave it there? Thank you so much. Grantharaj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Haribo. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Haribo.
happiest I've ever been.
Wow.
And I really like being fully engaged in Krishna consciousness and serving the devotees, serving the deities. And yeah, like Gopal would say, being sold out to Prabhupada. And this resonates with me so much. Sometimes I think maybe I'm just being sentimental, and when I grow up, this will go away. But so far it's not going away, and then I'm just thinking that am I being callous? And should I really endeavor so much to think about my own things? I don't put so much thought into it because I'm being supported. But I mean, I did my education, I had my experiences at work and everything. But now whatever I learned at school, I'm using it in Prabhupada's service. So I'm just thinking that, yeah, where do you draw the line? Like, I try to be responsible in my decision making, but this feels like this is it.
Say that again, I didn't understand.
That this feels like this is it, this is how I want to be, in a way, like sold out internally and externally.
Wow.
And I don't want, for example, my job to be my life and everything. My priority is something else. So yeah, these thoughts are there, and I thought, yeah, to maybe hear your thoughts, because I just see how beautifully you're preaching and impacting lives. And so it's, I mean, because I just know like whatever you share will come from a person who's experienced it, so it will give me some faith and hope also.
I mean, main thing I can say, like I said, the thing about the different varnas, I mean, I'm full of panic about like, how is it gonna happen? How is it gonna happen? I think I'm not, I wish I was a better person to talk to about this. I mean, I've definitely been impressed by, the devotees who do full surrender, and somehow things work out gloriously. Yeah, the only thing I can say is, I think what I tried to say at the end, it's like, when I look through when I look till everything up until now, it's actually amazing, like, I don't know, are you ever able to look at your life and just think, like, it's amazing how, like, this worked, like, this just kind of happened like this, and I met this person, and there was this situation, and somehow that worked, and somehow that worked, and somehow that put me over here, and that put me over there, and so, not all the decisions, but a lot of the decisions I've made have been on the pressing of very pure, exalted devotees. And so I just have to hope that, okay, Krishna told him to tell me, talk to me like that. And so I should just have faith that, there's a plan in that. Like one of the big decisions in my life was kind of moving to India, moving to Vrindavan. And I have doubts about that a lot sometimes. But the person that told me to do that was Anger Prabhu. He was super heavy about it. And it was the last thing he told me. I spoke to him the day before he passed away. The last thing he told me was, I need to get back there as quickly as possible. So when I look at his example, he was a proper disciple that lived in brahmachari ashrams his whole life into his late 50s. Who does that? Who else does that? It's like a very, very tiny number. He dealt with all the headache of the management, the pressure, I guess I can just look to the example of the great devotees and look at their example, and we can have a doubt about the institution, but ultimately our faith is not there, it's ultimately with Krishna. And so mostly forced to like compromise in certain ways with like the demoniac, economy and society just to get our maintenance. Like if you want a house and money and things like that, you're gonna have to probably work for some, non-devotees. And ideally, there should be kind of an alternative society that we have where, people can kind of engage naturally in their occupation and, and then have their needs met in like a reasonable way. But anyway, we don't have that, so that's why we're kind of straddling between our Krishna conscious society and kind of the non-devotee outside world, which has like an absolute different set of values than what we want. So that is kind of, I think that's like a huge aspect of the tension that devotees feel. Does that make sense? What is it?
Yes.
So my understanding, like, when Prabhupada was talking about, varnashram and stuff, the ideal is if as a society of devotees, we had some kind of independent, simple living, high-thinking society where, people are learning how to cooperate as a community to kind of fulfill all the needs of human life, which include just our ordinary material needs. So your family, it's kind of like a valid concern in a certain way.
Yeah.
If you were in a society where, imagine there was some kind of alternative spiritual economy, your parents probably wouldn't have the same, or your family wouldn't have the same kind of tension about it, but because, you're kind of entering in a world where it's not really there. But anyway, even transcending that, whatever material situation, we can have faith, God will provide. In a certain way, the varnashram consideration is still somewhat materially mixed. There's still some, you can say it's like it's something for like neophyte devotees that don't have complete faith. But someone that has full faith, then in hell and wherever the person is, you can just have faith that God will provide. And if, I'm doing Krishna's service, I never went a day when I had to starve. I never went a day when I didn't have a place to stay. Did you ever have that? It's a miracle, actually, if you think of it like that. How is it possible? Somehow I didn't get a super practical university degree and go work for somebody. How is it possible that I'm always getting fed? Did that happen? Anyway, it's really tough, and I don't feel like I'm a great example. Like this point is like it's a weakness for me. I have to say that very honestly.
I mean, I guess just because of that anxiety, like, because you have like these individuals and you just say that you wouldn't Bhagavan will say that so often in his lectures, you will think.
Wow.
Just have that faith
Yeah.
that if you do Krishna service, he will take care
Yeah.
of everything, even your inner purification, advancement, and everything.
Wow.
And I just see that there's a lot to work on internally,
Yeah.
but so many things I didn't even notice they were there, but then at one point you notice and then Krishna purifies. So he takes care of everything, that's for sure.
Wow.
But then the anxiety is still there, like it's not just in one aspect, but also like the fact that you are in Krishna consciousness, will I make it? And
Make it spiritually, you mean? Yeah.
like is that purity there? And is that love and everything? But like you said, that looking back and just looking back and seeing where you were and where you are now, and how he's maintaining you always reminding you.
To me, that's like the most practical evidence. Even you think, like anyway, I already said, like you met this person this month. like kind of a miracle how it kind of works out. And you think, because so many of those elements of your life, it's like, it's not just by me, it's like there's higher powers that are like directing this whole thing. And somehow this ship hasn't sunk yet.